Well, good evening, everyone. Chris Schultz, FridayNightVictors.com. This is our weekly video that we do. As always, I am joined by Frank Wagner and Gary Hoff. Gary, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Ready to
Frank,
rock
how
and
about
roll?
you? You ready to go?
Yep. Still pulling a few last minute notes together. Kind of busy today, but I'll be ready to go.
Okay. So, at the beginning of this video, we thought we'd share with you guys some exciting news. Gary came up with the idea of a podcast that would be of the statewide type. And he has put together a group of people who will be on the show. And the show is going to be called Bring the Wood. And that's a football term, bring the wood. And we're also going to bring the wood on this show. So Gary, why don't you tell us a little bit about it and what your thought process is? We're hoping to debut this next week sometime.
Well, I think most importantly is not what, it's who. We have a distinguished panel, really, of seasoned sports analysis, if you ask me. Um, Joining us, of course, is Goose Poop. He's part of the crew. It's a five-man crew right now. Goose Poop is uh is one of them, and we're looking at Frank like, what's he doing up there? He's holding his hand up. Uh, But of course, his website is absolutely amazing, and he opened up the whole website. By the way, all the premium content's free, so there's a ton behind the wall of what was premium but now free. So Goose Poop Cannondine is part of the crew. A couple guys from a billboard that I was on or am on, a sport football bulletin board, I should say. Um, Very, very knowledgeable, and myself and Chris Frank's going to be doing a lot of the research. Um, and things like that, finding those nuggets as he does. And we're going to hear quite a few nuggets, I'm sure, today from Frank. Um, but yeah, we're going to talk everything statewide, high school football. No league will be untouched as we go along. No conference will be untouched. Talk state rankings. We'll talk Goose Poop's website, his forecasts. We'll talk the pairings with Snooze. Snooze's pairings. Snooze will also be on. I talked to him today. I don't know if I told you this, Chris, but he got back to me yesterday and again today. He will be on as we get closer, maybe week 8, week 9, and he will give us his spiel about what he thinks is may happen and talk about his website. So that's two big timers right there, Goose and Snooze. So we've hit the big time, I think, Chris, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And we'll pull no punches. We'll do maybe an hour podcast a week, something like that, 45 minutes to an hour. And we might eventually do some Twitter shorts or whatever they're called, uh,
Spaces.
Twitter spaces. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. As the playoffs get near, and they are every day, every week, we'll talk a lot of possible playoff scenarios. And I hope it's something that the fans want to hear.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hopefully people will tune in, but just keep your eyes and ears out for that. We'll try and promote it a little bit, before it comes out, obviously. So, all right, hey, let's jump into some games from last week. I know we really didn't discuss anything, but I mean, how about guys, you got any thoughts on Bedford 49, Pioneer 14? The Kicking Mules, they just opened a can. Frank, what do you think?
Well, I think I'm starting to think that Pioneer may have been a 1 year wonder last year. I mean, they won't end up making the playoffs last season. Had wins over Bedford and Monroe, which we didn't expect, and then this year tables have kind of turned. And I mean, that's a good win for Bedford. Get some momentum going forward. I mean, they've got Lincoln this week. That's winnable. I mean, they've got Celine still, which is probably that's really the only game I see where they don't really have a chance winning. But I think if they can win their other games down the stretch, then they'll be back in the postseason. I mean, definitely play a good showing for them. I'm on homecoming night too.
Yeah, for sure. Gary, what'd you think of that? I mean, I was surprised. They just jumped all over them.
Yeah, Pioneer coming in 2-1. solid win over Lincoln, and they beat Adrian in the opener. Got beat by Celine by quite a bit, but that's going to happen to most everybody they play. And then Bedford coming in exact opposite that 1-2 got spanked by Dexter last week. And yeah, I expected it to be much closer. So maybe Bedford's figured something out. I don't know, did they get a player back or two, or hopefully they've figured things out and got back to 500. Yeah, Frank talked about Lincoln. I think that might be a pretty good game. Lincoln seems to play some really good defense. But we'll see if they beat Lincoln like they did Pioneer. Bedford might have they might be onto something.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I was very impressed by that victory by Bedford, and I think they could probably get one this week as well. Let's step over Riverview 51, Huron 21, and this game was 51-0. Was that the halftime score? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I mean, they just talk about just crushing a team, and Huron puts up 21 points late, but let's face it, it was against the 2s and 3s, and I thought Huron was a decent team, but I think Riverview just might be on another level. What are your thoughts, Gary?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, every week we say, certainly I say, Riverview's just they're head and shoulders above everybody in the Huron League right now, and they have been for a handful of years. And they're relentless. They do what they do, and they're absolutely relentless. And you got to do something drastic to take them out of what they're doing. Otherwise, it'll just be the longest 2 hours you've had in a long time, because it's I've seen the T ran quite a bit, and when it's working like it has been for Riverview, it's just death by 1,000 needles, if you will.
Yeah.
And they got it going. So, but they also can break them long ones. They got the speedsters. So, yeah, Riverview is just tough. Huron, I don't know. I don't know what to say about Huron.
Me neither.
I'm
Frank,
not
you
sure.
got it. You got any thoughts on that game, Frank?
Well, Gary kind of took the words out of my mouth, because I was going to say playing Riverview down, it's basically death by 1,000 razor blades.
Yeah.
It's because they're just going to run the ball down your throat until you can stop it, and they're going to play tough defense. And now for Riverview, I think pretty much the preseason is over. Now this is where they get into the meat of their schedule. Oh, we'll be getting to it later. This is when they play Flat Rock. I assume that's going to be our game of the week. That's going to be the real test for them, because all their other games, they basically just played their first stringers in one half and see if they're up big, and then, okay, we're just going to let the young guys get some reps, which that's good on Derek McLaughlin for doing that. Now this is basically where the lights are going to get bright. We'll see how well the Pirates do. And as for Huron, I did say in our thoughts, not yours, that I think they will go no worse than 4-1 down the stretch.
Okay. Yeah, I think Riverview is just fantastic, and I think I know I said on our thoughts, not yours, that this may be the best team since '97. They have speed, they have size up front. They obviously run their system. I think this is one of the better defensive teams they have had. I know if Rouge makes the playoffs, Rouge is probably in that district with them. I don't think Rouge can beat Riverview this year, and they could find themselves on a collision course with Martin Luther King down the road. I know it's only going to be week 5, but anyways, I'm really high on Riverview. So, all right, well, let's jump into our games for this week and see what we got. We got some pretty good games on the schedule. Last week was a little iffy as far as big games, but then we got some big games this week. So let's we'll start off with this one. It's 1-3 Airport at 0-4 Grosse Ile. I'm assuming that game's at Wyandotte, I believe. So if you're going
It's
out,
actually a match from 0-4 teams.
oh yeah, that's right, Airport. Yeah, sorry, look at me.
I was surprised no one's calling it the pillow fight of the week.
I don't know, man. I think Airport hits. They get out there and play, and yeah, I don't know much about Grosse Ile this year. I think they're just a little down. So, what are our thoughts here, Gary? Why don't we start with you? You saw the Jets last week. What do you think?
Yeah, they got a solid football team. I thought they played first year head coach, right? Derek Anderson.
Yeah.
I didn't think they played like they were like under a new regime. I thought they played pretty well. Not a lot of false starts, not a lot of stupid penalties. Um, I was impressed with them overall. They have some nice players. Running backs run hard. They got some big boys up front. I think Airport's definitely going to win this game. Grosse Ile's just young, and they're a year or two away from being what they want to be. But Airport, next year they might be a team to look out for.
Frank, how about you?
All right, I'm gonna ask each of you guys to guess what the combined points per game by both teams is. Chris, take a guess.
Combined, added together,
Yes, points per game through 4 games.
31.
You're way off, Gary.
Combined points per game, I'll say 34.
You guys are way off. It's 8.5.
Oh, you mean points per game? I thought you meant
Yes.
total points.
Total points,
Yes.
34.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
points
30
per contest.
31 would be 8 points per game. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
combined. The combined points per game is 8.5.
okay.
Grosse Ile only has 6 of those. And here's a stat for you. Grosse Ile needs to average 12 points per game the rest of the season in order to end up setting the school record for worst point total in a 9-game season. And I did some digging. That was 62 back in 2000. They did win a couple games that year. Went back to the 50s when they played only like 7 or 8 games, and there was years where they only scored 50 points the whole year. So it's sadly gotten to the bottom of the chili pot on the island. And they're probably going to be there again because I can say this for the first time this year. Give me the Jets. Jets, Jets, Jets.
All right. Give me the Jets as well. And I think Airport could win the next 4 and possibly that fifth one. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to go with Airport as well. All right. Let's stay in the Huron League. We'll go the Milan Big Reds are 2-2, and they're playing at SMCC 4-0. What do you think here, Frank? The Big Reds got a shot or no?
Well, before we went on, I asked Gary the last time that SMCC got consecutive shutouts in a season. It was 2014. Now, who were those opponents that they shut out in those consecutive games?
I know the teams they shut out. I don't know which two are consecutive. Let's put it that way, Frank. Regular season games, come with it.
Yeah. Well, the correct answer is they shut out Milan and Riverview in consecutive weeks in 2014, which obviously was a special year. And I don't know if they've ever shut out 3 straight opponents. I didn't get a chance to dig that deep, but who knows? It could happen, but I'm not going to say it will. But I'll still take the Falcons to win big on their homecoming.
How about you, Gary?
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say about this game. Obviously 4-0 versus 2-2. You've seen the teams they've played and the scores, and you think, okay, well, SMCC is gonna win this by 4 or 5 touchdowns, no problem. And that's just what paper shows. However, homecoming week, these players, students have had something every day in school, pajama wearing and a cowboy and dad barbecue shirts, and now they're doing the dances that they do for homecoming in the gym with the queen and her date. A lot of stuff going on in the school, right? That doesn't necessarily pertain to competition or football. And who does SMCC play next week? Anybody know?
Riverview.
Who are the Riverview Pirates?
Right. And I bet you SMCC knows that as well. And so this is a classic trap game. Classic trap game. And it's a Jesse Hoskins coach football team. So they're not going to lay down. Falcons better beware here. Yeah, they might be better. They might be better on paper, but Milan's going to be ready to play. And if the Falcons don't have their heads, facing the right way, better watch out. Happened to them last year at home against Grosse Ile.
Okay. Did I ask you
But I'm
already?
taking the Falcons. I'm taking the Falcons, but you know, all those things I said are you got to watch out.
All right. Did you make your pick already, Frank? I lost track. Gary.
Yes, I'm taking the Falcons to win.
All right. So I will agree with you that Jesse Hoskins is a great coach and that Milan will be ready to play. SMCC by 4 touchdowns, 28-0. I'll go there. So,
Okay.
all right, let's jump over to the this is another game in the Huron League. Just great matchup. Jefferson 0-4 at Huron 1-3. Gary, what do you think is going to go on here?
Well, we were calling the radio on the radio, Jeff Grosse Ile and I. You know, he's a Jefferson graduate, and I got the score of the halftime. Flat Rock Jefferson was like knotted up or something. It was very close. And nobody could believe it. I'm telling the folks in the stands, the central folks in the stands, what the score is. They didn't believe me, and what a surprise! So first of all, kudos to the Bears for playing a great first half of football against a veteran Jefferson team. Excuse me, Flat Rock team. So you really got to tip your hat to Jefferson. Flat Rock, of course, woke up, I guess, and scored 40 points, 50 points in one half. But I think I got to go with Huron here. Although Jefferson might be kind of finding their way with the youth project they got going on, but I seen Huron play and they got some dudes, and I just can't see them losing.
Frank, how about you?
I would have to agree that Jefferson is kind of finding their groove a little bit. And I mean, they put up a fight against Flat Rock, and then Flat Rock basically said, okay, party's over. We're taking it from here. There, I think things are going to go up, but here's a little bit of a quirky trend. In weeks 1 and 3, Jefferson was shut out. Weeks 2 and 4, they scored 20 and 29 points. I think they score this week, but I'm still going to take Huron to win.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys. I'm going to go with Huron. I don't think it'll be close. 35-14, something like that. So, all right, let's jump over to the LCAA. We got 3-1 Clinton at 1-3 Dundee. Frank, did the Vikings have a shot here against the, what are they, Red Hawks now? Is that their deal?
Red Wolves.
Red Wolves, okay.
Yeah. Well, Dundee's last win over Clinton came back in 2004. This obviously was way before when Clinton was in the LCAA, then says, we're going to the Tri-County Conference, and then a few years later say, yep, we're coming back. And Dundee is in their worst start since 2014. That team went winless. Of course, I think Dundee is just having it pretty rough this year. Here and now they're getting run into one of the better teams in the LCAA in Clinton. I don't think this is a spot to get right. I think Clinton wins big.
Gary, how about you?
I think the point spread's big. I don't think there's a lot of points scored in this game, though. I think Clinton might get to 28. It might be like a 28-0 game. I don't think Dundee scores. Clinton's defense is outstanding. So, you know, I would look somewhere in the range of 20-0, 28-0, something like that. Red Wolves.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with Clinton as well. I don't think Clinton's obviously got a really, really good team and still trying to figure Dundee out a little bit. But yeah, I think Clinton wins this probably, yeah, 3 touchdowns. So, all right, let's stay in the LCAA. Let's go. We got 2-2 Onstead at 3-1 Ida. This could be a good game. Gary, what do you think?
Onstead took it on the chin last week, didn't they? Who'd they play, Frank?
They played Hudson and got smacked.
Yeah, boy, Hudson is scary. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody wants to play Hudson, me included. Yes, I think Ida beats Onstead pretty easily here. They played with Hudson. It was 8-8 in the fourth, deep into the fourth quarter, and they didn't really play well. I think that Hudson had a lot to do with that. But yeah, I don't think Ida has much trouble with the Wildcats. I think they moved to 4-1, and maybe move up in my rankings. I'm the only one that's got them ranked. I got them ranked at 10, and I think they should be ranked in my opinion.
I think so. Frank, what do you think here?
Well, it's homecoming back at Ida. I'm an Ida grad, and I did get a look at Onstead. This Onstead team is better than what they've been in, but they're going through probably the most brutal stretch on their schedule, and it's not going to be any easier. I will take the Blue Streaks to get a big homecoming win and another big game from Dean Thomas.
Okay, I think that's a good way to go. Win by Ida and a big game by Dean Thomas. I would agree with you guys on that.
Did they put him in at quarterback?
And Whiteford they did for a series. I
Okay.
really don't. I haven't got to talk to Jeff as to why that was the case, but who knows?
I think they did against. Well, I don't know. I've heard he's been playing a little quarterback, but okay. Yeah.
All right, next game up is in the TCC, the Tri-County Conference. The Erie Mason Eagles are hosting the Lakers of Advanced
mighty Lakers.
Technology Academy. So, Frank, what do you think here?
Well, Chris, I told you before we came on that I had a stat about the mighty Lakers. Here it is. With a win, they will tie the school record for most wins in a football season with plenty of games to go. And I genuinely think that record is going to be broken at some point. When, I don't really know. I haven't gotten to look at too much detail as to who y'all play next. But from what you've told us in our group chats, that I think the mighty Lakers are definitely starting to find their sea legs. Erie Mason's coming in and beat up. They've had guys out to injury. They've had to move guys around. And for the first time ever on Friday Night Victors, I am taking Chris's homeboys, the mighty Lakers, to get a win.
Good choice. How about you, Gary?
Well, we talked about Dundee and how they've kind of been struggling a little bit. Well, Dundee beat Mason 53-0. So I think Mason is really struggling. This last 3 games, they played the 2 Ohio teams and then Dundee prior. They've scored 8 and given up 150 or thereabouts. Yeah, I'm going with the mighty Lakers of ATA. One step closer to the playoffs will be the Lakers, and that would be quite a feat. Would this be the first time, Chris, other than COVID?
Well, we made it COVID year, but we would have made it anyways if they would have gone with the thing because we had the points. We were, I think, 3-3 in the regular season, and then we lost to Ida in the opening game of the playoffs. I think.
So this would be the first time in the playoffs in a traditional manner where not everybody's in.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And you know, but here's the thing, right? We're beat up too. We've got some guys who've been missing. You know, our starting quarterback didn't play last week. Our starting running back didn't play last week. We've got a little bit of speed, but it's dinged up. And then we've got good size, but we're young. We're, you know, a lot of people, you know, talk about, you know, Jefferson and maybe Grosse Ile and even Mason, you know, being kind of JV teams almost. We're kind of the same way. We play a lot of young kids. You know, we start some freshmen, right? Our best player is probably a sophomore. So I think it should be a good game. I mean, it's, you know, I've watched film obviously on us and, you know, I've watched film of them. You know, I got to pick my Lakers, right? And I think it should be a good game. It'll be interesting to see. You know, I don't go to our practices a lot. I don't get in the way of coaches, so I don't know really what the game plan is or what we're doing or who's healthy. You know, I just know we had 3 starters on both sides of the ball out last week, and I don't know if they're back. But I'll go with the Lakers, of course. I got to pick my team. So, all right, let's go. Let's stay in the TCC. This is a big game here, and 3-1 Summerfield at 2-2 Whiteford. Now, I think this could be a really, really good game. I like Summerfield's team, and obviously I like Whiteford, and they played a tough schedule. I think Summerfield surprised us last week with their victory because we went with the Ohio team. What was that? West Unity Hilltop? Is that who they beat?
Yeah, they did. I know Gary went with them. I went with Summerfield.
You guys went with Summerfield.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess I did. Is that what I did? Yeah. I don't remember. Is that bad? Anyway,
Yeah.
the concern is nobody, and I mean nobody, goes into the woods and comes out with the win, right? So I don't,
Chris, you know that's my line.
I know, but boy, I want to pick Summerfield, but I got to go with Whiteford here. And we've been talking. We got 10 minutes left, so we better keep on moving. So what do you got here, Frank?
Well, here's a stat.
10 minutes.
Summerfield has beaten Whiteford when Whiteford has started worse than 3-1, 2-2 in 20. They beat them in the 2020 postseason and in 2019 in week 9. But like you were saying, no one, and I mean no one, walks into the woods and walks out with a win. Give me the Bobcats.
All right, Gary, how about you?
All right, to go along with that real quick, no one goes into the woods and comes out with a win. No one from Summerfield comments on our blog. So when it would be a big surprise to see some Summerfield fans out there. Your team's 3-1. Talk to us. What's the temperature like out there in Petersburg? Yeah, this is a show me game. This is a big time show me game for Summerfield. They got a chance to make their mark in the season. And a win over Whiteford would put them on the map. They would jump into the top 10 in most people's rankings, I would believe. And you're looking at home games if you're Summerfield. So in the playoffs, big time opportunity for Summerfield. But I'm going to go with the Bobcats.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's jump over to the SCC Red. Monroe 1-3. They were throttled last week, and then at Pioneer 2-2. What are we thinking here, Gary?
Good game.
Coin flip?
Yeah, I'm going to take Monroe though, but I think it should be a good game. All the stats and everything points to that, but I'm going with the Trojans.
How about you, Frank?
Monroe 8-11 all time versus Pioneer. All 8 of those wins have come since 2012. Make it 9 wins. I'll take the Trojans.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Trojans as well. I actually did a coin flip on this, and it came up Trojans. So I will go with the Monroe Trojans. All right, Bedford 2-2 at Lincoln 2-2. Gary, you said this could be a good game because Lincoln's got a good defense. Frank, what do you think? You agree with that?
I mean, Lincoln's defense is pretty good, but I mean, offensively, they are leaving a lot to be desired. And here's a stat for you. Lincoln was the last non-Ann Arbor SEC school that Bedford scored at least 40 points against. This was week 5 in 2021. Now, because of Lincoln's good defense, I don't think they reached the 40-point mark, but I do think that they get the win. I'll take the Mules to move to 3-2.
Gary, how about you?
This pick is brought to you by Cakes by Stephanie, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Go get your cakes. Go get all your goodies from Cakes by Stephanie over on Monroe Street, Monroe, Michigan. I'm going with Bedford. Yeah, Lincoln can hold teams down, but they can't score. And if you can't score, you can't win. So I'm going to take the kicking mules.
Yeah, I'm going to take the kicking mules as well, and they're going to go big. They're going to score 30 on that defense. So I think they're going to put up some points. I think Bedford's starting to come together. All right, our last 2 games, 2 really big games. Carlson 4-0 at Southgate Anderson, who's 3-1. Southgate's only loss was to Allen Park when Southgate went for 2 to try and get the win and were stopped at like the 2-inch line. So 2 good teams here. We don't talk about injuries a lot. Isaiah Wright's been out. I don't know where we're at with that, but Gary, what do you think's going on here? What do you think about this game?
This pick's brought to you by Bedford Septic. Any septic and sewer issues, give Bedford Septic a call today. Carlson's just too good. Too sound, too solid. Yeah, they've been without probably the best player in the region for 3 games, I want to say. So yeah, they've gotten it done. They got more weapons than Isaiah Wright, and they stay undefeated. I don't think they lose a game in the regular season. So yeah, go
Okay.
with Carlson.
Frank, how about you?
Carlson's last down over league regular season loss was on September 30th, 2022 to Southgate, in Southgate, mind you. But this Carlson team is a lot better than that one. As they have only given up about 7 points a game, which is the lowest since their days in the old Mega Blue Conference when they only allowed 6 points through 4 games in 2006. And I've said a lot of this year, no Isaiah Wright, no problem. I think that's the case because we've seen Drew Sikora, Landon Vita, Joe Krolak, their quarterback, has really taken on a lot more. There are other guys who can carry that team. It's next man up, and it's going to be the case again. Give me the Marauders.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys. I think it's be a good game though, and I think Carlson wins this game. I hope Isaiah Wright is back. You don't want to see him miss much more. Speaking of which, I was at Southgate Anderson today because my middle school, the Lakers of ATA, was playing Davidson Middle School over there, which is one of the feeder schools for Southgate Anderson, and we came out victorious 13-7. Just for you, those of you keeping track at home, I am anyway. So nice when your middle school team gets a win. So I'll go with Carlson there. So with about 3.5 minutes to go, we are at our Remax Masters game of the week, and that is the 4-0 Riverview Pirates at the 4-0 Flat Rock Rams. Frank, give us something.
Oh, man, I really had to look to find something. But here's what I have. Riverview has not lost to Flat Rock since 2017. That year, Riverview got to the state Final Four, made a really nice run. Of course, that was also when we saw Flat Rock kind of starting to get back on the comeback trail after being down for so many years. And now we're at a point where both teams are at very high levels in their respective divisions. But here's what I have thought. Flat Rock has yet to face a team as physical as Riverview that's just going to line up and ram the ball down your throat. So, with that said, give me the Pirates.
Okay, Gary, how about you?
It's autumn, and autumn is
A Pirate.
a pirate. Last night, Chris, you and I, at least I did, kind of listened to a podcast on Twitter Spaces, and they were talking about the Rams, and they said they're statewide, and they were actually talking about Flat Rock. And they said, name the last time Flat Rock beat anybody any good. And I chimed in on there. I pressed the request to speak button, and I said, well, they beat Airport last year, and Airport won the Huron League. So, and quite a few other things. I defended the Mighty Rams, Chris. I defended your Mighty Rams live on the air. I initially thought this game would be somewhat of I don't want to say blowout, but let's just say 20-pointer. 35-20, something like that. Or 40-20. I go on Cal Preps, I go on Goose Poop, and he has it a 6-7 point game. Both sites have it 6 or 7 points. So I don't know what the score is going to be, but I do think the Pirates are going to win. I'm going to take Riverview.
All right.
Flat Rock has to score every time they get it. Let's put it. Flat Rock has to score every time they get the ball.
I was going to say that because I think Riverview will score every time they have it. I don't think Flat Rock can stop them. With that said, it was about 40 years ago when my team from Flat Rock played Riverview at Riverview, and we beat them 7-0 at their place. Just thought I'd throw that in there. But I'm gonna go with Riverview. There's something about them. I think they could really, really make a run, and that's not a slight at my.
Look at Flat Rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All the
Flat Rock's got a almost an automatic entry into the semifinals.
They could.
With the way
All right, guys.
I agree.
We're under a minute to go, so we could go off the air at any minute here. So that's our picks. We thank everybody for watching. FridayNightVictors.com. Good night, everyone.